And applied research is based on real life problems. It's a practical approach. And primary concern is to stress on the development of technology and technique with the help of basic science. Second, we saw the comparison of descriptive research and analytical research. In descriptive research, there is 5 points. First one is descriptive descriptive research is more exploratory, and while analytical is more I think I have done some mistake. It is more explanatory. Descriptive is exploratory, while analytical is explanatory. And then descriptive profiles characteristics of group, while analytical analyze why group has characteristics. Descriptive focuses on what, the question what, and analytical focuses on the question why. Descriptive assumes no hypothesis, while analytical assumes a hypothesis. Descriptive does not require comparisons between groups, while analytical requires comparisons between groups over time. And finally, and then there was a deductive approach and inductive approach. Deductive approach explain causal relationship between, while inductive approach is understanding other research contexts closely. Deductive approach uses quantitative data, while inductive approach uses qualitative data. Deductive is from data to theory, while inductive is human attached to events. Deductive is large sample for generalization, while inductive is less concerned about generalization. Deductive mostly has scientific principles, while inductive is gaining for an understanding of the meaning. Deductive researcher independent from the study in deductive approach, while in inductive research is involved in the study. In deductive approach, it is highly structured, while in inductive, the structure is flexible. And then the final one is quantitative, comparison of quantitative and qualitative. Quantitative deals with numbers and statistics. It primarily focus is on testing theories and hypotheses. It requires many respondents and close multiple choice question. Data collection methods include surveys, experiments, and observation. Data analysis methods include finding common patterns in the data using tools. While in qualitative research, it deals with words and meanings. Its focus is on exploring ideas and formulating theories. It requires few respondents only. It has open-ended questions. And data collection methods include interviews, focus groups, case studies, and literature review. Data analysis methods include thematic analysis, discourse analysis, etc. So we have finished only till this.
Yeah, thank you. Super. You did a very good revision. Thank you very much. Yeah, let's move on.
So, ma'am, just one question. Yes, from yesterday's, the deductive, is it using quantitative data or qualitative data?
No, actually, see, we cannot compare deductive with quantitative and with qualitative. Like deductive is a method in which you are doing the inquiry. Like, okay, it is a method which you are doing the inquiry. Qualitative and quantitative means both are required for any research, right? See, that's what I told you. When you are doing a research, you need the quantity and you need the quality of the research also. So both cannot be compared like. That is a method of doing a research. And here, what is we are doing into the research? Are you able to understand what I'm trying to tell you now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let us move on to today's thing. So here we have to see what is structured as well as unstructured. We have seen now in quantitative, we said something is structured and something is not structured, right? So we should know what is structured as well as unstructured research. So what is structured, with the very name itself, you can really understand everything is for predetermined. Okay, what is the objective of the research? What is going to be the research design? What is going to be the sample? What is going to be the questions? Everything is predetermined. That is why we say it is a structured research. In other words, they would have already formed and planned the particular research. Okay, when you are doing the research, we are supposed to submit the proposal. Okay, so when you are submitting the proposal, after submitting the proposal, you are supposed to give them the clear, in the proposal itself, you have to give them the clear objective of the research and what are all the research design that we are going to follow, and what about the sample size that we are going to take, whether it is 50, 20, 100, okay? These are called as a sample size. And what are the sampling method also we have to mention while you are submitting the research proposal, and as well as the questions. The questions, where comes the things, questions over here? Can anyone share? Why do we use the word questions here? What sort of questions will come?
You mean the open-ended, close-ended, that, ma'am, or no?
No, generally in
Survey.
research, we say that questions, right? Here you see in structured, they say research is predetermined, such as objective, design, sample, and questions. And what here they mean as question? What sort of question will be asked in the research?
Is it questions for the participants?
Exactly. See, you will be getting the consent statement from the participants, right? How will you get the consent statement? How will you determine who's going to be your patient, who's going to be your sample? See, generally, what will you do in sample study? You, for example, when you take a migraine, okay, how will you select migraine people? How will you know a particular person is having a migraine? So you have to
We will prepare a questionnaire, ma'am.
Yeah. Before preparing a questionnaire, you have to identify the population, right? With whom you have to serve the questionnaire. So what will you do? We cannot be standing on the street and giving the questionnaire to each and everyone so that they fill up and we will fill. We don't do that, right? We'll fix some, you will give some mass advertisement, like you can go near some hospitals or wherever nearby, like you may go to some famous places like any college, if your subject is related with college students or with the working people or with the especially with policemen, what would be the sample that you are deciding, that place we have to move, and we will given first display that you are going to conduct some research regarding this. So you would be asking the particular population. For example, you take policemen. So what we used to do, after getting the permission, one display we will make it in the commissioner hall or where all police are going to assemble. There you will just make a display that we are going to heal the migraine problem of all policemen who are suffering with the real unresolved headache. Okay. So then you will, all the people used to assemble over there. Out of the assembly, you will start distributing the questionnaire. So first advertisement will be, though you advertise them as headache, now your topic is narrow to migraine, right? So generally, few people, they may not know whether they really have a migraine or not, right? And a few people, they may be getting a normal headache, but they would imagine it is only migraine for them. Okay. So what is the difference between normal headache and migraine headache? Only the specialist or therapist we know. So what will you do? You will design one questionnaire accordingly and circulate to the people who are assembling over there. So with the identified population, you don't know whether the particular person is having real migraine or not, but they have headache, right? So you would start distributing the questionnaire to the people around us. Then from the questionnaire with their answer, so you have to filter who are all really having a migraine. So here the questions, in that sense, your questions should be in such a manner that you could identify the real problem of a particular patient, right? So it should be very clear cut. What are all the symptom of migraine? each and every symptom, patient may not be knowing it, okay? You have to put the proper questions so that the patient knows to answer the question very simple and easy, okay? So we should not go for very in-depth medical questions. Generally, how would be the questionnaire? It should be simple and easily understandable and communicatable and answered. And another thing is preferably in the local language or with the English, right? So when you give a questionnaire, for example, I said policeman, okay. All policemen, generally policeman is accustomed to the particular state, right? For example, if I go to Bihar, if I give circulate a questionnaire in English, do you think I'll have a better response? Because local language is very much important, okay? They will understand only in the local language. The symptoms and all, only when you are communicate with them in the mother tongue, they will be in a position to respond to you very clearly. What would be the symptom? In which area you are getting the headache? How many hours your headache is persisting? And when are you getting the headache? The previous day of the headache, what was your diet that you had? The time of the diet and the physical activity and your job nature, everything counts. After the headache, what and all you are getting, or you're getting the vomiting sensation, and how long your headache prolongs. How then after it is prolonging, there should be end for the headache, right? Few people will take the medicine, few people will have an external application. So even those questions we will be asking. What are all the process, the treatment, the external applications or external medicines that they are taking? So from those questions, we will be filtering who are all the real patients of the migraine. Okay. So those questions here, the questions means those questions you have to very clearly classify the questions in such a way that pattern such questions in a very clear manner, in such a way that it is really helping the researcher to proceed with the research, because a questionnaire is a main important thing in the research design. Okay, then here comes, it is more appropriate to determine the extent of the problem. Okay, structured research means, that's why they are calling it as structured. When you are giving a proper structure for your research, it should be in such a manner that what is a research, as we have already discussed, the research, the main motive of research is identifying the problem and then finding out a solution for the problem. Okay. So we have identified the problem. For the problem, there should be an appropriate solution. That is why they say it's more appropriate to determine the extent of the problem. What is the level of the problem that they have? That is to be determined. So these things will happen in structured research. The very word structure means it really means in the depth. There should be a proper structure for the research. Okay, it should not be that haphazard manner. You cannot add any program into it, any schedule into it. Okay, for example, you have designed some questionnaire, right? Naturally, when you are designing the questionnaire, it would be with the guidance of your guide and the co-guide of whomsoever, and naturally with the doctor guidance only you would have designed the question. After deciding the questionnaire, do you if you add any one point, any one more question to few people, will it sounds good? And do you think you can have a proper decision out of it? My
Ma'am,
dear,
if it adds value to the questionnaire and I can extract some more deeper information, is that okay to do? I am not sure.
no, Rajeshwari madam, that is why we say it is structured. Okay, just imagine you are see, when I say the questionnaire, you may not be in a position to imagine. See, just imagine you are conducting a yoga competition. Okay, so you would have listed what are all the compulsory asanas, what are all the optional asanas, all these things would have circulated to the judges, right? Judges would be sitting and doing everything. Can you suddenly alter anything?
No, ma'am.
Similarly in questionnaire, right? So all these things will be is decided already. It is approved by the university, approved by your guide, and then only you are circulating it. So if you add suddenly, you cannot do it without the permission of your guide or your university or your doctor. Okay, we are only therapists. We are not the direct doctors, right? So all their with their approval only, we would have decided the questionnaire. So only when the questions are properly and clearly listed in the proper order. Okay. See, first question would be what? Are you regularly getting the headache? How frequently you are getting the headache? Okay, and what is the time that you are getting the headache? Like that, one by one, we will be coming. And finally, we will be asking what is the external medication that you are observing. So, okay, this would be the order of asking something. That is why they say questionnaire. Suddenly, you cannot add on the spot, you cannot add anything. That is why they say it is structured. Suddenly, as you feel, you cannot add anything. This is the meaning of a structured one. Everything is predetermined. What else is decided and the formed, that is going to be executed. Okay, then it is mainly used in quantitative research. I told you now, when sample is assembled over there, from the sample you are going to distribute that, you are going to take the results. Okay. So it is totally focused on the quantitative things, right? 80 people are assembling your samples. The identified sample is sitting over there. There you need a structured one because we are facing the public. You are facing your patients, the so-called patients, the identified population, right? Before the population, suddenly you cannot alter anything. Are you all understanding with me? Are you all traveling with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Ah,
ma'am.
when it comes to unstructured research, it is really flexible. Anything that you want, it is not predetermined. Okay, you can add. So this type of research, like when there is a live problem, social problem going on. For example, the COVID has happened. Last time we had COVID. And in such a cases, when the people are doing the research, they cannot structure it, right? Because suddenly problem arising, side effects are more. When they are treating the COVID, the another problem comes that heart rate is getting reduced, right? So in that case, they cannot structure anything. Okay. Generally, COVID is a normal lungs disorder. Okay, it's a lungs disorder. For lungs disorder, what we used to give, we will be giving the breathing. Okay, what sort of breathing we will be giving? We may give Nadi Shuddhi, we may give Ujjayi Pranayama, we may give even Kapalabhati, like that we used to give. But when it comes to the COVID, can we give all the type of breathing to a patient? Because the patient was not in a position to respond, right? So there we have to see the condition of the patient and then we need to alter our treatment on the spot. Okay, depending upon the health condition of the patient, how the patient is responding to you, depending upon them, you have to alter them. And another main thing, it is an epidemic, it is spreading, it is a communicative disease. So you cannot go near the patient, okay? You cannot give a treatment in an open hall to everybody, each and every individual patient to be identified and they should be treated separately with the social distance only because it is spreading it was spreaded at the fast rate, right? So in such a type of research are called as unstructured research, where the consequences are not properly identified. The reason for the problem is also not identified. Only problem is identified. The problem is not clear. The way of spreading is not clear. The pre and post things are not known to us. Okay, so in such a cases, only unstructured research will help us because suddenly they have to decide, they have to change the treatment pattern. And another point they are coming to say over is it is more appropriate to explore the nature of the problem. Okay, so when the nature of the problem is beyond the control, right? When you are doing such an open research, social type of research, correct problem to the your team, like see like a team only in these cases, not only single therapist would be there, a team of doctors would be there. So we have to explore and discuss what are all the problems faced over there, because when 10 people are there with one patient or two patients, all the 10 may not have the same observation, right? One may observe their reactions, one may observe what are all the infections that they are getting affected, like this. So we have to have a proper discussion and explore whatever the knowledge that we have gained out of it. That has to be explored to the team of people and the concerned people. That is why they say it is used in qualitative research. Okay. Here comes the quality, right? There comes no quantity. Quantity won't come over here. Here, the treatment, the methodology that we are going to follow, it can, there only the question of unstructured is coming. Okay. Even in the regular research, generally in a normal research, what we are doing nowadays is only a structured research. This sort of unstructured research is carried out by a straight medical people for specific problems which are not properly established or diagnosed. Like when there is a sudden disease, as I told you, COVID, and even when the AIDS came, those time and all people were trying to find out a medicine to heal out of it. In those cases, they cannot have a structured research. Okay, they have to find out the reaction then and there, and accordingly they have to start treating the problem. The side effects of the treatment is also to be considered, right? So do you all understand what is structured, what is unstructured?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Can anyone say, because it is very important, structured, unstructured, you have to understand, then only research will move on in a right manner. I think Lipalika, are you able to follow
Yes,
with me? Yeah.
yes,
Can you please tell me what is structure and unstructured? Can you please say?
yes, ma'am. Structure means what are the
I
consequences?
request to open the video, please.
Okay, ma'am.
Lipalika ji, we are waiting for you.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am.
No issue.
Yes.
Hi.
Uh,
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So structure research means what are the consequences already existed. For that, we have to we have to plan for research. Means we have to find out. We have to prepare objective. Means design, questions, samples. How we should overall. How we should over these problems. So already it was already it is existed, and it is also appropriate to determine the extent of problem. But unstructured means only problem is there, but reason of problem is not known. So find out, we have to find out for the reason of problem. uh, it is more appropriate for the explore the nature of problem.
Okay. Then what is main, the important word that we have to use in structure? The very important
Structure,
word.
yes, ma'am. Means quantitative research is very important for the
No,
structure. What I
actually,
understand.
thank you, Lipalika ji. Please, understand that in quantitative, we are applying structured research. The very word, the important word here is predetermined. Okay. Predetermined is an important word, and here in unstructured, it is not predetermined. This is a very important word. This is a key word. Okay. This is a key word between structured and unstructured. Okay. And Lipalika ji, where you are going to apply is quantitative. Okay. Structured research will be applied in quantitative research. Unstructured will be applied in qualitative research. Right. Are you clear with me now, Ji?
Okay, okay, ma'am. Means in structure, we have to apply.
Yeah. Your in structure research will be applied in quantitative research. Okay. In other words, you will be using structure research in quantitative research. Are you
Yes,
understanding what I'm trying to say?
yes, yes, ma'am. Getting, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Then we will be coming to research process. So now we have just have seen what is the meaning of the research, what are all the types of research, what are all the qualities of a good researcher, and also we have studied what are all the how we are going doing the research, like inductive method, deductive method, all these things we have seen right now. Now you should know what is the research process. So process means how the research is being carried out. In other words, it is a framework how the research should be carried out. See, you are given as a research scholar, you are admitted into one university, and in the university your topic is decided. Okay, your topic is decided. After deciding the topic, what will be asked? You have to submit a proposal, right? So what do you mean by proposal? It is a normal English word. What you are proposed to do, what you are decided to do. You are given a topic, are already identified with the interventions, in other words, the independent variables. We say intervention means with which you are going to influence a dependent variable. What is a dependent variable? The disease, the reason for the disease is otherwise called as a dependent variable. For example, why you are called as diabetic when your H1ABC is above 4.5, when your fasting sugar is not within 80 to 100, when it is exceeding, when your post is also not within the thing. So if all these criterion prove, you are supposed you are classified as pre-diabetic, diabetic, and a severe diabetic. Okay, so like this, we would be deciding all these factors. So in the proposal, we will be mentioning this is going to be our topic and this is going to be the interventions that I have decided. This diabetic, I am going to treat with yoga and with the diet, or yoga with Varma, or yoga with Siddha. And even like MSc level, you can take only as yoga, the classical yoga style. Okay, like that you can take. And nowadays, the mantra is occupying the major research area. So, yoga with mantra japa, like Om Japa they are taking, or any recitation mantra they are taking. So, these things are presented in the proposal. And then in the proposal, you would be telling what is the introduction for your topic, why you are taken the particular topic. Suddenly everybody, see, suddenly you cannot go and tell to your university that I want to do this topic. You have to justify why you are taking diabetic nowadays. Is diabetic, you can say, a major problem nowadays is a metabolic disorder, right? So wherever in one street, if you are living with 100 people, out of 150 is having diabetic, another 30 is having hypertension. So we can justify it is a common problem. For example, if you have decided or if you are really aspirant to take any brain disorders or behavioral disorders or cancer, how will you justify? Because already we have seen why the research focus should be towards helping the society, right? So, for example, if you are just taking a problem of resolving breast cancer, okay, you take breast cancer. How will you justify why you have taken this topic? Just imagine you are a research scholar. In the introduction, after introducing about the disease, you have to give a justification why you have taken this particular disease. So just tell me. Yeah, Sakshi, I think you started telling something. Please open up.
Yeah, ma'am, as breast cancer, in my family, only two people have faced this.
Okay.
One have survived,
Mm,
and one is surviving,
mm,
like her medication is going on.
mm, mm, mm.
And
But
some of my colleagues' mother have also the breast cancer, so it is becoming very common in women's.
okay. Mm.
So that's
But
why I think
actually, can we take on topic because our family members are affected into it? Maybe ethically you may take, but can you give a justification in the research paper that since my family members are affected, I am taking this topic?
no, ma'am.
No, so then what will be your next approach?
So I'll be searching for the people who may have survived this or is going through with
How
the
will you
breast
search?
cancer.
You are coming to the right track. How will you search? Where will you get all these details?
How will
Ma'am,
I
by
get
the
it?
previous research is done.
Okay, fine, very good. Then
Then we have
There will
to
be
find an objective about our research, what we are doing it in.
no, objective is
It,
something different. I think Sarika started adding something. Please.
there may be certain central agencies which will look into the prevalence of this particular disease which we are
Yeah,
studying.
exactly. What is that
Their
agency?
reports.
What are the agency which look into health issues?
Ma'am, like there is a hospital, Tata Hospital. This is specifically for breast cancer in BHU. So maybe from that, matlab it is a university also. From there, I think I can get some uh, uh,
Yeah.
data of those people.
Actually, friends, actually, the sort of private data generally we are not supposed to bring it in our research. Like you have to depend upon WHO, World Health Organization, and the statistical. There are many statistical agencies, medical approved board of the government, and international medical board is also there. And their main duty is to have a survey, regular survey about how many patients are affected with all this thing. And the WHO, World Health Organization, plays a major role in bringing out what are all the living condition of the population, what are all the diseases that is affecting the population with the age group wise. They maintain the statistics and the data. And similarly, and in all the countries we have such an medical caring board, in even in the states we have. So with those data we have to establish that this much people are getting affected with it. So with the aim of helping them, you have to get prove, statistically prove the data. It is available with all these boards. The current data is available with all the boards. So with their help you have to publish in your research that this much people are affected with this. So this is the current problem going on. As Sakshi said, there in their home, two people are there. See, if in one home, two people are there, how about in a particular town? How about in a particular city? How about in a particular state? Then you can come to the country. Naturally, the proportion will be very high. See, in their family, you can make up like close relative like 50 people. Out of 50, when two are having the same problem, the proportion literally high, right? So you can match it out with the, you can take a search for the statistics in your particular town, the area in which you live, and you can find out what would be the reason. Maybe the local diet they are following, or the local climatic conditions, any factory wastages that is coming over there. Because of this, the polluted food they may take. There may be like, so all these things you will get a clear medical data with the agencies that is appointed by the government. The government itself is having a medical board which is giving all this data, and we have to find out a data from the government sources, and you have to present it in your research and telling that because of all these things I am taking the research. Okay, this is the next step. After you are justifying why you are taken this topic, then you will be coming to the variable. See, generally, as I have told you, when you take a diabetic, the major reason is the major variable that we are taking is H1ABC, fasting as well as postprandial, right? So like this, any that is which we call as a biomarker. Any disease, there should be some biomarker. Like for example, when I say dysmenorrhea, which is a biomarker, progesterone level is a biomarker. If the progesterone level is not normal, naturally the dysmenorrhea results. Like this, when H1ABC is not normal, when fasting is not normal, the patient is declared as diabetic or pre-diabetic. When it comes to the hypertension, we will be taking systolic as well as diastolic. Okay. When these two are really abnormal, we are declaring the particular patient as hypertension. So such a biomarker should be as a variable in our disease. Okay, without taking H1ABC, without taking fasting sugar or postprandial, can I say somebody is diabetic? Okay, this is not possible. That is why they say it is a biomarker. Okay, such a variable to be identified. In addition, you can add some psychological variable. Like when we say you are diabetic, naturally what will happen? The person will start getting the stress because next area we will be we'll be asking them to follow some few diets, right? So observing diet itself is really a stress, right? Because they would have practiced with some routine. So we will be disturbing the routine. As a therapist, it is our duty to ask them what is their diet because the metabolic disorder is majorly because of the diet. Okay. So we will be disturbing the routine. When you are disturbing the routine, so psychologically, we say when 21 days they have to follow the new cycle. Minimum 21 days they have to follow the new cycle to make it an habit. So if it goes to 30 days, it is better. When it becomes 48 days, it will be slowly turning out to be their habit. So we have to ask them, for example, they follow a sedentary lifestyle. You will ask them to go for a walking for 30 minutes and practice Surya Namaskara, at least 12 rounds of Surya Namaskara. All this list of activities we will be giving. And do you think our patients will be very happy to do all these things? Maybe for the first 1 week they'll be really happy. After that they'll start own problem. See, I don't find time. I have work and I am unable to rise up early in the morning. All these things will come, right? Do you all agree with me? Because they're all therapists, you would have faced many problems like, okay. So it is our duty to take them to a minimum rate. These are all to be mentioned over there. So that is why we say research process is really very much important. So after identifying these variables and the biomarkers, and psychological variables should also be identified. So we would be saying for this disease, I have identified H1ABC, fasting, then anxiety and depression. Like this, you will be listing the variables, psychological and BMI. I have identified clinical variables as H1ABC, fasting, and physiological variable as BMI because naturally obesity will be there, right? And psychological variable as depression. So these things will be listed in our proposal. Then for these things, then again we will be designing one methodology. So how many days you are going to give the therapy and what are all the things that you are going to include in the therapy. These things will occupy in the methodology portion. And in the methodology itself, you will be telling them what is the type of statistical analysis or any analysis method that you are going to use for establishing your results. Then how the results will be displayed. So then you will take a supportive review of your research. And finally, you will come to a results and discussion. And in results and discussion, you will compare your results with the previous reviews. So this is a thing that we are going to have it in our proposal. So in research process is nothing but it is a framework or total outline. Framework means total outline of what we are going to do. So it may be qualitative or it may be quantitative depending upon the academic discipline. So what is the type of the process that we are going to, what is the type of the research? Accordingly, the process will also differ. Then the next point is there should be a logical sequence and the steps undertaken. That is what I told you, no? So we have identified the problem. For the problem, you are going to give the solution through yoga or through Varma. That is solution you are giving. And in the solution, you are again telling them, because with my treatment, I assure that H1ABC will come to a control after a treatment of 6 months of yoga therapy to a particular patient. So that is what is called as a methodology. So here it should be in the proper sequence. Like you should follow the sequence, identifying the problem and giving a therapy that is a solution through whatever, whether it is Ayurvedic, yoga, Siddha. So you are telling the methodology in which you are going to intervene the disease and what are all the things and after the intervention, what are all the things you assure to reduce that variable, the dependent variable, your intervention is going to affect the dependent variable that should also be listed over there. After intervention, you have to tell them how you are going to prove your intervention, how you are going to prove your results. That should also be there. And then finally, you have to tell what is the discussion. See, all the intervention need not be, you need not get the positive result. As I have already told you, see, maybe in H1ABC, you will get a positive result. See, if it comes to the cancer, breast cancer, you will start the treatment. Naturally, you will give diet and everything. Yoga with diet we may take. And is it compulsory that the result will be positive? Can you force it? Do you expect that all the results will be positive? You may have 10 patients. All the 10, will you get a positive result?
No, ma'am.
Oh, ma'am.
No, no.
So what will happen? And in the out of the 10, it will be showed in the average. For few people, will have a better effect. For few people, there will be no effect at all. And for the few people, there may be some negative effect. Because why we get negative or why we don't get effective at all? Can anyone say? You simply take diabetic, and we have 50 patients. Okay, I tell you 40 better effect, and 5 same state. Maybe H1ABC 6.5 previously, same 6.5 after 6 months. And for the rest of the 5, it has slightly increased. Can you tell me why the same maintain and why increased?
Ma'am,
Maybe
because every person has a different lifestyle to
Mm,
live.
mm. Come to the
Everyone has
exact
a
point.
different.
You are into the point, but tell me the exact reason.
Maybe because of the uncontrolled variables.
What are those uncontrolled variables? What will you term it in research? You say uncontrolled, right?
Yeah.
ma'am, like
Yeah.
I can give example. Like there is a client of mine. She is diabetic,
Mm.
but she is not responding well because she has some neurological disorder also. Like
Yeah. Okay.
she has
You are
been
right because
present for.
it is associated with other diseases. Fine. This is one of the reasons. And another thing, all these things together, we will title one term in research. See, we say it is limitations or the boundaries. So when you are doing the research, you list your boundaries, right? Because the other medicines that they are taking, we are not supposed to stop the other medicines, right? We have no right to ask them to stop the other medicines. As she said, if she's having a neurological disorder, the patient would be given maybe any steroid or something like this. When it comes to neurological steroid, when you take a continuous steroid, naturally your diabetic level will not be under control. Steroid will increase your diabetic level. So other medicines are not taken into account. And then diet, you are giving only the diet chart. Personal observation is a limitation. We cannot go behind the patient, yeah, all the time, right? All the 3 times we cannot be sitting with the patients. We cannot be asking them to eat. They are not our children. They are not our family members, right? Even our family members, only to some extent you can give, right? You can give only instructions to follow, right? And the personal observation is a limitation, right? You cannot have 100% personal observation with the patients. This is a second point. So all this and the climatic conditions that is followed. For example, you just take a place where the pollution is high. You can previously the Bhopal was the example, and even the places where the crackers are produced, even the places where the chemical wastages are coming as a factory area, the common disease would be the lungs disorder, right? Because of the climatic condition, to some extent only we can heal, because unless otherwise the wastage emission is controlled, it is not possible to resolve the disease. So these type of climatic condition will come under these limitations only. So that is why all the research usually have boundaries, and it is our duty to list the boundaries. If you fail to list the boundaries, you will be really crossed in the viva, right? Because what see, we are not God ourselves, right? Even the very good doctors, finally they say it is in the hands of the God, right? So we are only therapists. We can, with whatever the things that we have learned, we are trying to treat a person. But and in the treatment, we are fixing the boundaries. What are all the boundaries possible? You have to list it over there. That is very much important. And then the another thing is that, See, procedure, methodology, and techniques, everything, it has to be, see, on this spot, they are not, our subjects are not experiment, they are not the person to be used to check and apply. Okay. Whatever the methodology, whatever the techniques that we are going to apply, it should have been the established technique, already proven one, already very much proven one to get a better result. We are not supposed to implement anything raw on them. Okay, already established techniques only we have to follow. And the validity is also very much important. Validity and reliability comes with the instruments. Like when you are taking the test, that instrument should be reliable, and the data that you are taking, it has to be reliable. It should have a validity. These things to be clearly established, and then unbiased and objective. See, when you are treating the patient, maybe you are, for example, your family members, like Sakshi is going to treat a breast cancer. Our family members may also be the two patients. But when you are giving the treatment, the 10 should be treated properly. You should not give special care to your family members alone. Whatever the treatment that is going to be followed, the research process, it should be an unbiased one. All our patients, all are to be treated in the proper manner. And similarly, objective. Objective is, what is the research objective? It should be very clear. It should not be biased. It should be unbiased. Okay. And then, so here they are giving what are all these steps. It is textual definition. They will be asking this little names and all you need to remember, because it may be asked in MCQ. So formulating research questions or posing the problems which a researcher want to find an answer. As we have already known, there is the question of research comes only when there is a problem. So you should know what is the problem and what are all the problems arising over there. That problem to be listed, why you are taken that particular problem, that should be very clear. And for that problem only, you will be collecting the data. So as we have said, if it is diabetic, you are going to collect the data. How you are going to collect, what are all the data that you are going to collect, that should also be predetermined. Every time you cannot be taking a blood sample. See, first month if you decide H1ABC and next month if you are going to take fasting, means it is not fair. See, when you are decided, these are all going to be your variables. From the first test, you have to start with the fasting, H1ABC, like this. You are not going to jump from here to there. So like this, there should be a proper methodology to collect the data. And then answer. See, whatever the answer that you have decided, what are the questions, not only the questions are important, the expected answer should also be determined. Okay, so that is why we say it should be a logical sequence and everything. And now it is a simple outline of what we are going to do. You are going to formulate the research problem, and then in formulating a research problem, as we have already decided how you are going to formulate with literature review and with the variable identifying research problem area, and then you are going to formulate the hypothesis. What is the expected result? Hypothesis nothing but a guess. And then the research designed to be matter. See, as soon as you identify the problem, we would be identifying the solution also. So how the solution or how the treatment is going to be applied, that should also be decided, whether it is going to be the experimental study or the non-experimental study. Generally, our yoga and everything will come under experimental study only. And then the third is nothing but developing a data collection instrument and the research instrument. How you are going to collect the data. For example, for BP, you will be deciding that systolic and diastolic, like this. Or if you are taking a BMI, also one of the main reasons, so you have to measure the weight. This instrument should be well established, should be presented already in our research. And then selecting the samples. So you have to identify the population, and then after identifying the population, how you are going to see, I have told you now, by policemen. So all the police are assembled, and they have filled up the questionnaire, and you have taken the questionnaire, and also the answers very apt. See, your population, your research population may be 30, but the answers suited, the expected answers suited 45. Then how will you filter the 30 out of 45? What are all the known methods that you feel? Are you all in the class or sleeping?
We are there, ma'am.
Yeah, fine, fine, fine. So I think my question is little simple. Can you please answer? You need just 30 people, but 45 people answered the expected level. So how will you filter the 30 out of 45? Come on here. These things we have already
We
studied
can
in
check
I
other
think 8th or
way.
9th level. Yeah, come on, Saja.
We can select according to other factors also, like if there is age limit in our research, like that.
Okay, you
More
take,
simple.
see, age limit won't come over here, yeah. See,
Okay.
when you are identifying a problem, you know, that is there itself, we would have limited the when you are selecting a population, means it would be within your range only. See, when I say diabetic, we cannot treat a diabetic from 30 to 70, right? So we would have decided that time itself, our diabetic population would be around 50 to 60 or 40 to 50, right? So age won't come over here. Gender also we would have decided already. Depending upon that only, we will be selecting the sample population. Okay. The hall itself will be only with the selected persons only. So age won't come over here. Any other, just imagine. Just if you are
Maybe we can avoid people who are having some other diseases or
no, ma, no, Sarika. My question is very simple. See, you can take, you can take it in the other sense. Whatever the answer that you expected, like other categories, the age and everything matched for all the 45, but you need only 30. How you are going to filter? So there comes a question of probability. Okay, probability or non-probability. Generally, how will you select? We will put a lot method. Okay, like in questionnaire, say we would have mentioned 1 to 50. Like we will put a lot method. In a lot method, it is not biased. Like you will put maybe or a computer drop down method. In computer will it itself will allot a token like. So out of that you can select. That is why they say it is a probability method or a non-probability method. Any one method we will be this is decided by the statistical sampling method. Okay, so with the unbiased manner we will be selecting our population. We will not first to 30, we are not supposed to do like that. So either in the lot method, because it should be unbiased, right? If you say first to 30, what will happen? The person in 31, if he really needs a treatment, may not be given by us, right? So that's why they say without seeing the names, without any motive, either that is why they generally advise a probability method or a lot method. They'll say it is a lot method is better, or a computer drop pickup method. Like this, few methods are listed over there depending upon the quantity of the population, how much we need, depending upon it, the method will be decided and advised by our statistician. So those methods we have to follow. And then the fifth comes the research proposal. I have already explained how to write a proposal. So after submitting the research proposal and the pilot study, they will be asked to do a pilot study. After doing a pilot study, you will be officially ordered for collecting the data. So in collecting the data, you will be observing and taking the test, interview, and the schedules, everything will be given. For real research, you will be collecting the data. After collecting the data, you will be analyzing the data. Naturally after connection, our duty is to analyze the data. You will just put all the statistical calculation and then tabulation, graphical methods. You will be analyzing the data. And last step is that you will be writing a research report. And the research report, we will be justifying whatever that we have taken, whether it is proved or not, we have to justify. If suppose in the variables, for example, if H1ABC has come to a control, fasting also come to a control, and I mean, after food, if the diabetic level is not under control, you have to be truthful and you have to explain that it has not come to a control because I have not taken diet as my variable. You might have taken something like Ayurveda or something like. So, in suggestions we may give in future when research is going on, diet may also be added with the things for a better result. Okay. So like this, we have to form, this is what is called as a research process. So from the beginning till the research submission, my report submission, I have done over there. Then only Viva voice is pending. So Viva voice, they will be taking it. University will be giving our research report to our external examiners. After the report comes, you will be ordered for a public viva voice. There you will be asked the questions. So if all the examiners report are also satisfied and if you could face the viva voice question in a justified manner, the particular research will be declared as good and the researcher will also be given as a doctor title. Okay. With this, you all imagine you are all getting a doctorate very soon. So with this, we will end up the class today.
So be it, ma'am. So be it.
Yeah.